Today is October 17th. It's the 291st day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. Born on this day in 1938, Evel Knievel. Knievel defies death during 15 years of daredevil motorcycle stunts. He performs over 75 ramp-to-ramp motorcycle jumps, including a 1971 jump over 13 cars in Buffalo, New York. But before Evel Knievel becomes Evel Knievel, he's Robert Craig Knievel, born in Butte, Montana. When he's 8 years old, he witnesses a spectacle that plants the seeds of inspiration for his later career path when he attends the Joey Chitwood Auto Daredevil show. The stunts he marvels at leave a deep and lasting impression. He drops out of high school and takes a job at the local copper mines. After a while, he earns a promotion that has him operating a large earth mover. One day, Knievel, a motorbike enthusiast, makes the earth mover do a wheelie. Though impressive, he wheelies his way into the city of Butte's main power line, causing a power outage that lasts for several hours. For this stunt, he's fired. Now unemployed, Knievel has lots of time on his hands and is in and out of trouble. A 1956 police chase ends with Knievel crashing his motorbike and landing in jail for reckless driving. While in jail, Knievel acquires a new name. He's in a cell next to a fella named William Knievel. The night guard refers to this character as Awful Knievel. The guard then dubs Knievel Evel Knievel. Evil spelled E-V-E-L instead of E-V-I-L. Knievel likes it and sticks with it, keeping the spelling because it matches his last name, and he doesn't want people to think he's evil with an I. Always looking for thrills and challenges, Knievel takes part in local rodeos, ski jumping, and ice hockey. In the late 1950s, he joins the Army and makes 30 jumps as a paratrooper. After his stint in the military, he gets out, gets married, and plays semi-professional and then professional hockey. He eventually switches full-time to motorcycle racing until he breaks his collarbone and shoulder in an accident that sidelines him for 6 months. As a husband and now a father, Knievel needs a better way to make a living. He switches to selling insurance. Working for the Combined Insurance Company of America, he sells policies and is rather good at it. So good, he feels they should make him vice president, after just a couple months on the job. They don't agree to this, and Knievel quits. Looking for a change, he relocates his family to Moses Lake, Washington, and opens a Honda motorcycle dealership. He also starts promoting motocross racing. The shop doesn't do so well, and Knievel closes it. He moves on, taking a job in a cycle shop owned by Don Pomeroy. Don's son, Jim Pomeroy, is a professional motocross racer. He teaches Knievel how to do a wheelie and ride while standing on the seat of the bike. Evel Knievel is about to make a career decision that he's been preparing for his entire life. Remembering how inspired he was as a child watching the Joey Chitwood Auto Daredevil show, Knievel decides he can do something similar, but with a motorcycle. He does everything himself, from renting the venue to setting up the show to writing press releases and selling tickets. A small crowd shows up. Knievel entices them with a few wheelies before the main event, a jump across a 20-foot-long box of rattlesnakes and 2 mountain lions. Knievel makes it across but lands short, his back wheel hitting the box of rattlesnakes. Still, he lands safely, and the crowd is amazed. Knievel recalls, quote, "Right then I knew I could draw a big crowd by jumping over weird stuff." He realizes he's onto something, but needs more time to develop the jumps and more performers, stunt coordinators, and personnel to handle the promotion and ticket sales. He also needs a sponsor who will foot the bill, and he eventually finds one. Evel Knievel and his motorcycle daredevils make their debut in January 1966. Knievel performs wheelies, crashes through plywood firewalls, and jumps over 2 pickup trucks, leaving the crowd in awe. It's a huge success with additional bookings, but a month later, Knievel has a mishap. He's tossed 15 feet into the air and sustains injuries that land him in the hospital. His Daredevil show breaks up, but that's not the end for Knievel. Once healed, he decides to travel town to town doing solo stunts. Thinking of ways to stand apart from others out there on the stunt scene, Knievel decides to jump cars. Lots of cars. Thus begins his stunt career, jumping 12, 16, even 19 cars. Sometimes jumping up to 13 Mack trucks, 14 Greyhound buses, and even 13 sharks. Fonzie, eat your heart out. But not every jump is successful. Knievel has an equally impressive amount of crashes and major injuries that he racks up, supposedly suffering upwards to 433 bone fractures, though his son Robbie later says his dad broke 40 to 50 bones. Knievel himself claims it to be 35. Whatever it is, he earns a place in the Guinness Book of World Records as the survivor of, quote, most bones broken in a lifetime. Of the many crashes Knievel experiences, his most famous one takes place when he jumps the fountains outside Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. Actor-director John Derrick is hired to film the stunt, and he uses his then-wife, Linda Evans, later known to the world as Crystal Carrington on TV's Dynasty, as one of his camera operators. She captures the crash on film. Knievel crushes his pelvis and femur, fractures his hip, wrist, and both ankles. A concussion keeps him in a coma for 29 days. It was terrible, Knievel recalls. Quote, I lost control of the bike. Everything seemed to come apart. I kept smashing over and over and ended up against a brick wall 165 feet away. But 4 months later, he's back on his motorcycle, jumps 13 cars, and is now known as the death-defying daredevil Evel Knievel. Always seeking more impressive jumps and more publicity, Knievel starts talking about jumping the Grand Canyon. He undertakes negotiations with the federal government to secure a jumping site and even goes so far as to design concept bikes for the jump. But the Interior Department denies him airspace over the canyon. Instead, Knievel turns his attention to the Snake River Canyon in Idaho. He hires aeronautical engineer Doug Mulowicki to build him a rocket-powered cycle for the jump. The first design is test-launched and lands in the Snake River a mile below. A second version is built by Aerojet engineer Robert Truax to operate more like a rocket than a motorcycle. Knievel performs his stunt on this version, the Sky Cycle X2, before thousands of spectators and thousands more on a closed-circuit TV broadcast in September 1974. He drives his Sky Cycle up a 108-foot ramp at 350 miles an hour. Knievel soars about 2,000 feet over the canyon. The parachute deploys to slow the Sky Cycle, aiding in stability and control. But the winds cause drag on the parachute, and the Sky Cycle drifts back south and down into the canyon, hitting the bottom a few feet from the river. Evel Knievel escapes death with minor injuries and makes $6 million in the process. As a showman, Knievel knows his attire is an extension of his performance. He becomes known for his leather jumpsuits, especially the white one with the patriotic styling. It includes a cape and an Elvis-like belt buckle with his initials, EK. Knievel is also a strong advocate for helmet safety, promoting helmet use at all his events. He even offers a cash reward to anyone witnessing him performing his stunts without one. Deciding it's time to capitalize on his daredevil image, Knievel seeks opportunities for product endorsements. He says, quote, I'm a guy who's first of all a businessman. Knievel signs a deal with American Eagle Motorcycles. Between 1972 and 1977, Knievel also earns money by lending his image to the Ideal Toy Company. They produce Knievel-related merchandise such as figures with various outfits and accessories, and the popular Evel Knievel stunt cycle, I had one of those. I loved that toy. Ideal sells more than $125 million in Knievel toys over this time period. Even Bally gets into the action marketing a Knievel pinball machine in 1977. By 1980, Knievel is forced to retire. He tells reporters that he's, quote, nothing but scar tissue and surgical steel. His daredevil career leaves him with a titanium hip, aluminum plates in his arms, and lots of pins holding other bones and joints together. Though retired, Knievel continues to make public appearances and promotes his son Robbie's daredevil stunt career. Married and divorced twice, Knievel is a father of 4, grandfather of 10, and great-grandfather to 1, all before his death in November 2007 at the age of 69. Just 2 days prior to his death, Evel Knievel, born on this day in 1938, completes his last challenge. After a nearly year-long lawsuit against rapper Kanye West for his parody use of Knievel's image and famous Snake Canyon stunt, Knievel and West settle the suit amicably. In one of his final interviews, Knievel tells Maxim magazine, quote, I really wanted to fly through the air. I was a daredevil, a performer. I loved the thrill, the money, the whole macho thing. All those things made me Evel Knievel. Sure, I was scared. You gotta be an ass not to be scared. But I beat the hell out of death. There's 75 days left in the year. On This Day is produced by me, Dave Schultz. Thank you very much for listening. Today's episode written by Elizabeth Schultz. Also born on this day in 1962, director, writer, animator Mike Judge, best known for Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, and Silicon Valley. If you haven't seen his film Idiocracy and you live in America, you're living through it right now with this year's presidential election. But it's a must-see. Check it out. So if you're still listening, you're never a failure until you fail to get up. Talk to you tomorrow.